Welcome to the Emotional Fitness Club podcast, where you're just 10 minutes away from a great day every day. In today's episode, we're going to do our glimmer-based E-WOD for Mindful Monday, and then we're going to have a little chat about the ego and how it's not quite as negative as everyone tries to make out. In fact, it is always doing its best to protect us in whatever way it can with the tools we have at the time. Okay, but it's Mindful Monday, so let's get straight into our E-WOD of the day. And our prompt is, what's a recent moment where you noticed your ego was activated? Whether it was a defensive thought, a quick judgment, or perhaps even a need to prove yourself. How did this reaction serve you? Yes, how did this reaction benefit you? And what we're trying to do here is encourage awareness of how our ego-driven behaviors, they're not always this thing that's sabotaging us like everyone wants to meet. They've got subtle manifestations and they are doing exactly what they need to do to protect us in the way that we've best known in the past. And remember, our egos run through our subconscious. So it can never think forward and go, okay, what's the best thing for me in 10 years, 20 years? It just says, right now, with the challenge I'm facing, with the stress I'm under, where I'm being pushed to adapt, right now, based on every single file, every single moment that is in my database over our past life, what's the number one thing I can do to tell you, show you, filter out so you can't see, manipulate, give you a perspective on that's going to help you feel the most safe. It's going to help you react or act in a way that's going to get us our number one benefit, right? And this is where nearly everyone in the world has got this so wrong, is that we only do what is to our greatest benefit at every second of the time. And if it's not a conscious choice, which for most people it's not, we got this 5 to 95 rule, right? It's a subconscious need. And this is where most of us have this confliction. We want to have conscious and subconscious aligned. And when their need of the conscious or the want of the conscious and the need of the subconscious, safety wise, are aligned, we are unstoppable. We are just in complete flow. But for the most part, a lot of times we've got conflicting values. We've got this, I would like to do this. I don't realize that my ego, my subconscious, my ego's acting as that protective parent, whether it's mean, kind, overprotective, underprotective, whatever it needs to do. It's showing me, filtering me, giving me, framing me, giving this perspective to help me create the strategy or follow the strategy that's worked best in the past. Now, in my conscious brain, that's when I get to go, I don't really like this strategy, right? And our goal is to consciously change things to affect the way that our subconscious reacts, or put things in place, whether it's changing of habits, whether it's doing some therapy, doing things, changing, our life to then change the evidence that adds up. And eventually, or quite quickly when you do different things like trauma and toxin therapy, that I can have a complete reframe on every single part, every single thing in my life. So what's a recent moment where you've noticed that your ego was activated, whether there's that judgment, a quick reaction, or a need to prove yourself? How is it beneficial to you? How did it serve you? I really want you to sit with that. How did it serve me today, or yesterday, or in this last week? So think about a moment when you were challenged and when you, uh, you know, felt your ego get activated. You might be going, "Oh, I didn't like the way I reacted in that situation." Maybe not. But I want you to spend some time and try and think, well, but if I didn't like it consciously, why did I do it? It's because my subconscious needed to do it. So if it needed to do it, there was a benefit, and not just a small benefit. Based on that moment, based on the challenge, the stress I was under, it wasn't just a small benefit. It was what my subconscious and my ego chose was the number one thing I could do. It's very clear in its priorities, and it will go based on the context we're at, this moment, based on the environment, the people, etc. Based on what everything I know, I will either speak up or not speak up. I'll either act or not act. It's choosing exactly what it believes that the past has shown us is the number one thing to get you what you need survival wise. I mean, understand that, it's so much easier to sit in that and go, thank you. Thank you so much for acting like a real prick. I understand that that's quite triggering to us. We don't actually believe that um, we're very good in that area, right? I get that. And we're trying to prove that. We're doing a lot of things to work on that, but we can't quite own that just quite yet. So thank you there for protecting me. I did need that. I wasn't ready to take full accountability for that result or that moment in the past. I wasn't ready to, so I needed to offset that onto someone else. I needed to blame that person over there. I needed to call them out. I needed to, um, worry about this because I don't trust in myself just yet, right? Um, so yeah, that's your prompt. The little chat about the ego, I feel like we've done that, but I want you to really start to think of it like this, even if if you're a parent right now, you understand that your job as a parent, especially early on, is to protect this child massively. And some parents become helicopter parents and they fully, don't let them experience anything. They're filtering the child's perception, going, I don't want you to hear that, don't want you to see that. I'm going to just tell you these things. That's what our ego is doing for us. So even if you're a parent or you're not a parent, you've already been a parent to your inner child. You're the parent, and that's what your ego is doing. It's constantly trying to, again, keep you safe, help you be better. And sometimes it's mean as shit. A lot of times it's mean as shit. And a lot of times parents are mean. They're the meanest. Sometimes parents are meanest. They don't want to be. I see so many people, so many parents that a lot of inside, there's just so much blocked guilt in their body for the way that they've shown up with their children. They don't want to do that consciously, but their subconscious is so scared that if they don't put them down, if they don't compare them to others, if they don't be critical, that their child's not going to get better because they know inside themselves that's what's worked for them. That's what their subconscious knows anyway, right? So they're repeating that pattern. Or they've got the opposite where I was so highly criticized and that wrecked everything for me. So I'm never going to criticize. And that's where we get in this world right now. Everyone's so addicted to support, right? And if you challenge me, if you have a different opinion to me, if you criticize me or critique me or give, a a critique that's quite important, I will be angry. I'll be upset because nobody's allowed to criticize me. And we try and shield our children, like the way that I think schooling's coming back now, but it was, like I can't even mark in red pen. We can't say anything negative. We can't criticize at all. There's no pass and fails. There's just competencies. And, that's not the way to create resiliency. That's not the way to manage our stress. But you can see how, once allowed, and if someone's been parented that way and their mind goes, this is what I need to see, is just I need to see full support always. And if I'm not being supported, then I'm going to react and because I can't take any accountability because I've never been shown how to take accountability because the parenting I've had has said, you're not accountable for everything. It's always everyone outside of you's fault. And that's the way the world is again at the moment, right? Our health isn't our thing. Like think about the last 4 years, especially. It's like your immune system has nothing to do with it. It's all outside of you. Everything's everyone else's fault. But when we get and we want to be a really proactive, absolutely aligned accountability person, we understand that when we're good inside, not much externally can ever affect us. And everything that we're going through, our disease, our disease, every part of our experience is an inside out job. And that's when you get to that point, that's when although there's a lot of pressure in that, life becomes incredible because putting it outside yourself, not taking accountability, always having something else to blame, while that is easy, and sometimes we all need to do that. And when, sometimes we're not proud of that, but it's not an empowered way to live. It's not an empowered way to live at all. So hopefully that little glimmer-based E-WOD, because even though we're talking about the ego, which a lot of people go, whoa, that must be a trigger. We're talking about something negative. No, 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 no. How did it serve you? What is its purpose? How? Because we want to start to become, and this is going to help us create this beautiful relationship with the person inside us, that little inner child, right? Our subconscious. We want to have this conscious, subconscious alignment. And to do that, we need to understand our patterns. We need to understand how and why we do the things that we do. And why would my subconscious, why would my ego be telling me this? I don't want to hear this. Yes, you do. And it wants you to do that strategy, even though consciously you don't want to right now. And this is a cool thing too, is right now, it will always react and show you and filter and etc. based on where you are at the moment right now, with the tools you have, with the needs you have, with the stress you're under. In 3 months, that may be completely different because it's a different person. Your nervous system may be more regulated. You may have taken more ownership. You may have got new skills. There may be more evidence that says, I don't need to take that path anymore. There's some clear evidence that actually I can do this over here. And so the subconscious reaction changes, the ego filtering changes because the person's different. And our job, I believe our job, and this is what I try to do with every single client, every single person in the Emotional Fitness Club, is as we age, as we go through more and more challenges, experiences in life, the normal process is to get more bitter, to close off, to shut down, to create more armor, to learn different ways to mask up and not show our authentic self, to learn more ways to protect ourselves and not, to show different versions that aren't really us as distractions, avoidances, so that we don't get hurt. Our job, I believe, and this is our challenge in life, is every time we get hit with a challenge, really negative, we don't let that change who we are. And we continue to open up and we continue to work, and we notice our triggers and we notice where we're filtering that isn't as workable to our conscious goals. And we look and we go, well, how would I align conscious and subconscious here? And we open up and we still become strong. In fact, we become stronger. We stand for ourselves, but we become open. We become calmer. We can become strong as hell without having to ever raise our voice, without ever having to threaten anybody, without ever having to push our point. It's just a confident, a deep, grounded, calm confidence that says, this is what I deserve. This is who I am. This is how I will treat you, right? And the way that we act only becomes a reflection of how I judge myself. Again, the external person really doesn't matter. So, deep chat to start the week. I hope you've had got some insight anyway, and I'll be back to chat to you soon. Okay, have a great day. Bye.